Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel. Are you still seriously doubting it? Because what we're seeing now isn't rumor, imagination, or fan exaggeration. It's a pattern. A long, consistent pattern that has been quietly unfolding for years. Jimin doesn't need to make a statement. Jungkook doesn't need to explain himself. And Jin doesn't need to confirm anything out loud. Their actions already speak clearly, if you're willing to watch closely. This isn't about labels. This isn't about assumptions. This is about moments that feel too natural to be staged, too consistent to be accidental, and too emotionally grounded to be misunderstood. And once you notice them, it becomes impossible to unsee the truth. Are you guys still seriously doubting it? At this point, the question almost sounds ridiculous. Because the more time passes, the clearer everything becomes. Not through loud announcements or official statements, but through quiet moments, consistent actions, and subtle confirmations that only those who truly pay attention can see. And this time, it's not just Jimin and Jungkook speaking without words. This time, even Jin seems to step in, almost as if saying, "How much more proof do you need?" For years, people have argued, denied, laughed, and dismissed what has been right in front of their eyes. They called it fan imagination, coincidence, or brotherly affection taken too far. But the truth has a strange way of surfacing, not all at once, but piece by piece. And recently, those pieces have begun to fit together so perfectly that ignoring them now feels more like denial than skepticism. Jimin has always been expressive, but there's a difference between being affectionate and being intentional. What we've been seeing lately isn't random. It isn't accidental. It's consistent. From the way he looks at Jungkook when he thinks no one is watching, to the way his tone softens when Jungkook's name comes up, to the small gestures that scream familiarity rather than performance. Jimin doesn't try to prove anything, and that's exactly why it feels real. He doesn't need to announce ownership. He simply lives it. Watch how Jimin reacts when Jungkook enters a room. There's no exaggeration, no dramatic show. Just an immediate shift, a subtle brightness, a comfort that settles in naturally. This is not the behavior of someone acting for a camera. This is the behavior of someone who feels safe, grounded, and emotionally at home. People who love each other don't need to convince anyone. They just exist in each other's orbit, effortlessly. And Jungkook? He's never been good at hiding his emotions, especially not when it comes to Jimin. His body language gives him away every time. The way he leans in, the way he mirrors Jimin's movements, the way his focus narrows when Jimin speaks. Jungkook doesn't just listen to Jimin. He absorbs him. There's a deep attentiveness there, a kind of devotion that can't be scripted. What makes this even more undeniable is the balance between them. Jimin's softness doesn't overpower Jungkook's strength, and Jungkook's intensity doesn't overshadow Jimin's gentleness. They meet in the middle, always. They adjust to each other instinctively, like two people who have learned each other's rhythms through time, conflict, healing, and trust. That kind of synchronicity doesn't come from friendship alone. Then comes Jin. Jin, who has always been observant. Jin, who chooses his words carefully. Jin, who has lived with them, worked with them, and watched them grow not just as artists, but as people. When Jin reacts to Jimin and Jungkook, there's a knowing smile there, a familiarity, a quiet confirmation that feels intentional without being explicit. He doesn't need to say much, because his expressions say it all. When Jin teases them, it's not cruel or dismissive. It's the kind of teasing that comes from acceptance, from knowing something is real enough to joke about. Jin has never treated Jimin and Jungkook like a rumor. He treats them like a given, like something everyone in the room already understands, even if they don't say it out loud. That's what makes this moment different from all the others. This isn't about one glance or one clip taken out of context. This is about patterns, long-term consistency, emotional continuity, years of the same energy, the same attachment, the same gravity pulling them back to each other no matter what changes around them. People who are still doubting often ask for proof, as if love is something that needs a press conference. But love, especially the kind that survives fame, pressure, and constant surveillance, tends to become quieter over time. It becomes protective, careful. And Jimin and Jungkook have always been careful with each other. Not because they're hiding something fake, but because what they have is real and therefore precious.
우리 지민이에요.
진짜 소름 돋는 게 딱
지민이에요, 지민이.
지민아 사랑해.
Jimin proves Jungkook is his not through words, but through presence. Through how he prioritizes him, how he notices the smallest changes in his mood, how he stands just a little closer than necessary. Jungkook proves it by choosing Jimin again and again, in ways both obvious and subtle. And Jin confirms it simply by never denying it, by reacting as someone who already knows the truth. So are people still seriously doubting it? Maybe. But at this point, the doubt says more about the doubters than about Jimin and Jungkook. Because when something is this consistent, this natural, and this deeply rooted, denying it becomes an act of willful blindness. You don't need a label to recognize connection. You don't need an announcement to feel sincerity. And you certainly don't need confirmation when the people involved have been showing you the truth for years. What's important to understand is that connections like this don't survive by accident. They survive because both people choose them every day, especially when life gets complicated. Fame magnifies everything, pressure tests every bond, and time exposes what isn't real. Yet through schedules, distance, growth, and change, Jimin and Jungkook keep circling back to each other with the same ease, the same trust, and the same quiet certainty. That kind of emotional gravity isn't something you perform. It's something you feel, even when no one is asking you to show it. And that's why so many people resonate with their dynamic. Not because it's dramatic or loud, but because it feels familiar. It mirrors the way real connections work in everyday life, built on comfort, understanding, and mutual protection. There's no rush, no urgency to explain themselves. They let time do the talking. And time, more than anything else, has been remarkably consistent in telling the same story over and over again. Jimin doesn't chase Jungkook. He claims him quietly. Jungkook doesn't question Jimin. He trusts him completely. And Jin doesn't expose them. He simply lets the truth exist. And maybe that's the most powerful confirmation of all. If you're still here, thank you for watching with an open mind. This channel isn't about creating drama or forcing narratives. It's about observing moments, understanding emotional patterns, and appreciating the depth of connection that makes BTS who they are. If you enjoyed this kind of thoughtful, respectful storytelling, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more meaningful BTS moments. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our next upload. Until next time, keep watching closely, because sometimes the quietest moments tell the loudest stories.